Y'all, the way this whole Nicki and Kenneth situation is spiraling, this is not the fairy tale Barbs thought they were signing up for. Because the whispers right now are loud. Blogs are claiming Nicki Minaj has quietly filed to divorce her husband of 6 years, Kenneth Petty. And allegedly, it's not just a we grew apart breakup behind the scenes. People are saying there are claims of violence, control, and even drugs being used to keep her in line. And that Nicki may have finally snapped out of it and said, enough.
They're yelling, push. You're in pain. Then one day, it comes out, a beautiful baby boy. To God be the glory. Congratulations to every mama out there. You're doing a great job. In case no one's told you that, you're doing a great job.
Now, none of this has been confirmed by Nicki herself, but the streets are talking like they saw this coming years ago. When Nicki first reappeared online this year looking exhausted, agitated, and low-key all over the place on live, some fans were joking. But others, they were side-eyeing Kenneth. They'd been warning her from day one. This man's past is ugly, his energy is off, and now that there are rumors of a secret divorce and a restraining order, everybody's going back through the timeline like, oh, it all makes sense now. Because remember, this didn't start as some random Hollywood fling. Nicki and Kenneth go way back. Before the fame, before the pink wigs, before stadium tours, there was Annika in Queens and a teenage boy from the neighborhood named Kenny Childhood, block love, hood romance, the kind of story people romanticize. They lost touch, life happened, she became Nicki Minaj, and he collected a criminal record.
What's happening?
Yo,
Big fucking money, man. What's up?
Yeah.
Where the niggas is at, man?
Yeah.
Huh?
You don't know
Big
niggas.
Zoom.
They said you don't know
Yeah.
niggas.
Big Zoom. Plan that vacation. You
Yeah.
gonna be planning your funeral, pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way to the street, nigga. Know everything, nigga. Let's play. Let's play. What's up?
We'll meet you there,
Let's
nigga.
play. Let's get it.
Years later, she circled back to her day one, and in 2019, they quietly tied the knot. And when I say quietly, for someone like Nicki, who loves a grand reveal, it was suspiciously silent. No Vogue spread, no wedding photo shoot, no live stream, just a random Instagram clip with Mr. and Mrs. Muggs and bride and groom hats like, surprise, y'all, I got married. Barbs were happy because Nicki looked happy. But at the same time, people were squinting like, why are you hiding this man? Then his past started trending.
Sí, that is spinach shit. Them niggas out, nigga. I go Kanye, nigga. Know it's sharp, man.
Nervous, man.
Know it's sharp, yeah?
Nervous, huh?
We outside. Big Zoo outside,
All
nigga.
the way
Big
outside,
Queens, right?
Huh?
Yeah?
Back in 1995, before Nicki, before fame, Kenneth was convicted in a case involving a woman who says he forced himself on her. Court records show he ended up doing time and later had to register as an offender. Years after that, in the early 2000s, he got hit with a manslaughter conviction in a totally separate case and did more years behind bars. This is not gossip. That part is public record. And fans were stunned that this was the man Nicki Minaj, one of the biggest rappers alive, chose to build a family with. But when people raised concerns, Nicki doubled down, not backed off. She hopped online and defended him hard, saying he was young, the girl was his girlfriend, and the internet needed to mind their business. She basically told people, you can't even run your own life, don't tell me how to run mine. And that's when a lot of Barbs checked out, because it wasn't just Kenneth. Her own brother had already been convicted in a horrific case involving a minor. During that trial, Nicki wrote a letter asking for leniency, and fans were already uncomfortable with how she handled that. So to then marry another man with a disturbing history and defend him too, people started to feel like there was a pattern she refused to see. Then came the California mess. After Nicki and Kenneth moved to LA, he was arrested again. Not for a new assault, but for failing to register as an offender in the new state. That alone had him facing serious time and fines. He ended up coughing up a big bond and later got sentenced to house arrest and probation, and everyone pretty much assumed whose bank account was footing those bills. Nicki's. And here's where people started going, okay, now, this is not just embarrassing us, it's affecting her career. Because instead of being outside, on tour, doing festivals and shows, Nicki was stuck in the house with a man who legally couldn't move the way she moves, no random late nights, no popping out freely with him. She started going live from the house more, ranting, crying, oversharing, and it looked like her whole world had shrunk down to being a full-time mom and full-time defender of Kenneth Petty. Fans who had grown up on Boss B, independent, chase the bag Nicki, were watching her sit in the living room arguing with strangers online over a man with multiple convictions, and the more she tried to gaslight the public into accepting him, the more distant people felt from her. And then, the situation with his accuser, Jennifer Huff, blew everything wide open. Jennifer came forward publicly, saying she'd been harassed, pressured, and intimidated after Kenneth got with Nicki. She claimed people connected to them tried to convince her to recant, to say it never happened, even allegedly offering money in exchange for her silence. She said she'd had to move, stop working, and live in fear because of the pressure that came with her name being attached to Nicki's husband. Nicki and Kenneth denied orchestrating any harassment. But Jennifer wasn't just talking. She filed legal action. She sat down for interviews. She said she'd spoken to law enforcement and that there was documented proof of what she'd been put through. Suddenly, this wasn't just a messy, stand by your man situation. Nicki was being accused of using her fame and money to shield him and intimidate a victim. It went from, girl, this is a bad look, to, this might destroy your legacy if you keep playing with this. On top of that, their legal team missed deadlines in Jennifer's lawsuit. Motions didn't get filed on time. Jennifer's side asked the court for a default judgment. Basically, if y'all aren't even going to respond, then rule in our favor right now. It was chaotic. Nicki's lawyers scrambled to undo the damage. Kenneth's side fumbled even harder, claiming he couldn't afford representation. And the whole time, people kept asking the same question. What is it about this man that makes Nicki risk everything? Her public image, her peace, her money, her fan base, her reputation with women, all of it kept getting dragged back into the mud because of Kenneth's past and his choices. And now, with these new rumors floating that she secretly filed for divorce and may even have a restraining order in play, fans are going back through every moment like it was a slow-motion car crash we were all forced to watch. Because as wild as all this legal drama was, it wasn't even the end. Things were about to get more dangerous, more public, and more humiliating. And the streets say that's when Nicki finally realized this wasn't love, it was a liability. The moment rumors of that divorce leaked, the internet started stitching together every red flag Nicki had ignored. And suddenly the timeline didn't look like a romance. It looked like a 5-year-long cautionary tale she barely escaped from. Because once Kenneth's legal drama started snowballing, it didn't slow down. It got louder, messier, and more dangerous. And Nicki was getting dragged right into it whether she liked it or not. And you could see the shift in her face, in her interviews, in her lives. The cracks were showing. The stress was eating her alive. She'd go from laughing to snapping to crying all in the same breath. And fans were begging her to log off, take a break, breathe. But behind the scenes, people swear things were much darker than what the public saw. Because Kenneth wasn't just embarrassing her in court, he was embarrassing her in the streets. Remember the Offset situation? Of all people he decided to play gangster with, he chose Offset, a man whose own circle had already suffered tragedy, a man people do not play with lightly, Kenneth. And a whole group of dudes were outside at night, recording themselves talking reckless, bragging, threatening violence, on camera, on probation, in a case involving past violence, with a judge already tired of his nonsense. He stood there in that viral video, chest out, yelling threats, dropping names, hyping up beef that wasn't even his, like he forgot cameras existed. Like he forgot he wasn't 17 in Queens anymore. He was a grown man with ankle monitors, convictions, and a superstar wife who was already drowning protecting him. And Nicki? She woke up the next day to her man trending for publicly threatening a Grammy-winning rapper. The jokes were flying, but the legal system wasn't laughing. The judge snatched him right back into house arrest for 4 months. House arrest, fines, restrictions, monitoring, probation violations. This man was supposed to be a quiet husband in Calabasas. Instead, he was acting like he wanted to go right back to prison. And every time he got dragged in, Nicki's name got tossed around with his like she was his co-defendant, not his wife. That's when her fans started saying out loud what they'd been whispering for years. He's ruining her life. He's isolating her. She's not herself. She looks tired. She sounds scared. Because on top of the legal trouble, people began claiming Kenneth was allegedly controlling her behind the scenes, with manipulation, emotional pressure, and even drugs. And whether those rumors were true or not, Nicki wasn't looking like the confident, powerful, untouchable queen she used to be. Her energy had changed. Her glow dimmed, her career slowed. Her joy felt forced. It was giving fighting battles in private. Then the claims got even darker. Quiet whispers that Kenneth wasn't just stressing her out. He was allegedly hurting her physically too. Fans noticed how often she covered her arms, how often she avoided turning her head a certain way, how her voice cracked when she talked about struggles at home, how easily she snapped at random things she never used to care about. And after that bizarre, shaky live stream where her mood swung every 2 minutes, people were convinced something was very wrong in that house. Then the rumors of an intervention hit. According to some insiders, Nicki's closest circle, friends, team members, even family, supposedly stepped in, begging her to leave Kenneth. They allegedly told her she wasn't safe, that she wasn't happy, and that she was losing herself. Some even claimed he was draining her financially and emotionally, exploiting her love and loyalty. Imagine being one of the biggest artists on earth, and suddenly your world feels small, suffocating, weighed down by a man who can't stay out of trouble. And the most ironic part? Nicki has always been the one preaching boss up, choose better, don't let a man drag you down. Yet here she was, living a life completely opposite of her music. Then came the public humiliation she could not ignore. While she was online promoting albums, touring, dropping videos, Kenneth was outside acting like a teenage corner boy, picking fights, calling out rappers, flashing street energy, threatening violence, violating probation, being seen with people he legally couldn't even be around. Every headline made her look desperate, trapped, foolish, stressed, and out of control of her own household. No A-list woman wants to be attached to a man who can't stay quiet for 1 month without being involved in mess. The blogs dragged her, the rap world laughed. The public side-eyed her choices. And the Barbs, they weren't defending him anymore. But the breaking point wasn't the legal mess. It was the Jennifer Huff case. The moment Jennifer publicly said she was being harassed, pressured, stalked, and contacted by people allegedly connected to Nicki and Kenneth, everything shifted. And when Jennifer said she had spoken to the U.S. Marshals and handed over evidence, that was it. Nicki wasn't just dealing with public shame anymore. She was staring at potential legal blowback that could ruin her entire legacy. The same legacy she spent 15 plus years building brick by brick. All because of a man who brought nothing to the table but problems. No money, no career, no stability, no peace, no good reputation, no positive impact. Just drama, court cases, threats, lawsuits, fines, and stress. At some point, even the strongest woman gets tired of being the provider, protector, lawyer, emotional punching bag, therapist, PR team, babysitter, and financial sponsor. And people swear that intervention finally got through to her because once the Offset situation hit the courts, once Jennifer's case started gaining traction, once the rumors of physical danger surfaced, Nicki allegedly did what everyone had been praying she'd do. She lawyered up, she strategized, she went silent, and she started making moves behind the scenes. The first move, according to whispers, filing for divorce quietly. The second, allegedly filing for a restraining order for her own safety. Because for the first time in 5 years, she realized she wasn't losing Kenneth. She was finally losing the dead weight that had been dragging her down. And the streets are saying the real reason she finally cut him loose wasn't just his criminal history, or the court mess, or the harassment allegations, or the cheating rumors, or even the public embarrassment. It was survival. Nicki Minaj didn't divorce Kenneth Petty for clout. She didn't do it because of the blogs. She didn't do it because of the Barb's pressure. She didn't do it to rebrand. She allegedly did it because she was in danger. Emotionally, mentally, financially, and maybe even physically. And once a woman realizes a man has more power over her downfall than her happiness, it's over. The whole situation around Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty didn't just collapse overnight. It was unraveling thread by thread for years until the rope finally snapped. And by the time it broke, Nicki was standing there holding all the pieces, realizing the truth everyone else had been screaming. She wasn't married to a partner. She was married to a problem. What really pushed everything over the edge wasn't one single scandal. It was the slow, steady buildup of chaos that kept echoing around her name. Every new headline, every court filing, every whisper behind closed doors started pointing to the same thing. Nicki wasn't living a peaceful life. She was living in survival mode. And the moment a woman realizes she's surviving more than she's living, that's when the exit door suddenly becomes real. People always wondered how someone as powerful as Nicki ended up tied to someone dragging so much weight behind him. But when you step back and look at their history, the teenage romance, the reunion storyline, the he knew me before I was famous fairy tale, it all makes sense. Nicki mistook nostalgia for stability. She thought going back to someone from her childhood meant going back to something safe. What she actually returned to was danger wrapped in familiarity. And while the world was watching her as a superstar, she was dealing with things at home nobody saw, the legal issues, The violent allegations, the controlling behavior, the manipulation, the threats, the drug rumors. That's the kind of chaos you can't put on Instagram Live. That's the kind of stress that ages you faster than any tour. And for a woman balancing motherhood, fame, business, and legacy, it became too much. Out of that, fans started noticing the shift long before she admitted anything was wrong. Her energy changed. Her eyes changed. Her interviews felt heavy, like she was saying one thing but thinking something else. Even the music began sounding like someone trying to remind herself who she used to be. That's when people started whispering, "Nicki doesn't seem happy. Something's off." Behind the scenes, it was worse. The restraining order rumors didn't come out of thin air. Nobody files paperwork like that unless things have hit a point where fear outweighs pride, and when a woman with Nicki's status, money, resources, and power still feels backed into a corner. You know something serious went down. Something she couldn't fix with lawyers, money, or image protection. And the crazy part? Kenneth wasn't just endangering himself. He was dragging her name into every scandal he created. Every probation violation, every lawsuit, every aggressive moment caught online. Every threat, every court fine, every headline that had her name next to his crimes. She wasn't just dealing with a messy husband. She was dealing with someone actively putting her career on life support. Her team felt it. The industry felt it. Her fans definitely felt it. The more Kenneth flared up online or ran his mouth at the wrong people, the more Nicki's brand dimmed. Not because she wasn't a star, but because he was acting like a gravitational pull, dragging her down into drama she didn't earn. Imagine being at the top of the rap world for over a decade, dominating every arena of music, influencing an entire generation, only to have your public image chip away because the man standing next to you won't stop making enemies and breaking laws. That's not love. That's sabotage. And after that Offset situation, that was the tipping point. The moment Kenneth started threatening one of the most famous rappers in the world online, while still on probation, Nicki realized she was living with a liability who wasn't afraid to set her entire empire on fire. Every lawyer she had was shaking their head. Every brand partnership was side-eyeing the situation. Even people in her circle were whispering that this was becoming unsafe. When fans noticed she stopped appearing with him, stopped defending him, stopped posting with him, that was the beginning of the end. Nicki was waking up. And then came the quiet part nobody expected. The intervention. Friends, family, people who loved her finally sat her down and said what she needed to hear. This man is not your future. He is the weight around your ankles while you're trying to swim. If you don't choose yourself now, you might not get another chance. That was the moment everything shifted. Because Nicki Minaj might be emotional, she might be loyal, she might be stubborn, but she isn't stupid. She didn't fight tooth and nail for decades to build her legacy just to let one man take it down. Once she understood the damage being done, she made her move quietly, strategically, and permanently. Filing for divorce wasn't weakness, it was power. Filing for a restraining order wasn't panic, it was protection. Cutting ties wasn't heartbreak, it was liberation. And the deeper this situation goes, the more people realize how much she endured behind closed doors. The drug rumors, the emotional manipulation, the alleged violence, the money bleeding, the constant legal issues, the embarrassment, the disrespect, the public humiliation, the private pain. Nicki didn't just walk away, she escaped. Now she's finally reclaiming herself, her career, her freedom, her peace, her voice. And the glow people saw returning to her face, that wasn't makeup. That was relief. Because the truth is, this wasn't the end of her marriage. This was the beginning of her comeback. For the first time in years, Nicki Minaj isn't standing behind somebody. She's standing alone and shining brighter because of it. If you're ready for the next chapter, hit that like button, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because trust me, this story is just getting started. See you on the next one.